looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. "11 weeks of action, 11 weeks of chaos, 11 weeks of controversy, 11 weeks of drivers running circles every Sunday evening, giving us all the entertainment, giving me the opportunity to bring things live. And it all culminates here in Brazil for the finale of Season 7 here with Fox's Racing League. Welcome, everybody, to this wonderful Sunday evening. Hope everyone is enjoying. Of course, time has transitioned in Poland. Daylight savings time is kicked away, so things might feel a little bit off today, but hopefully the one thing that feels right is FRL being here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Of course, my name is Brad. As always, I am your commentator, but Split 2 shall not be alone. We are bringing in someone new here. We have Kenny with me today. Kenny, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your background, and welcome to Fox's Racing League, to the commentary booth.
Yeah, Brad, pleasure to be here at FRL, here at the season finale, here at the storied Interlagos circuit here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm super stoked to be calling these races with you guys now and in the future. I'm not very experienced in terms of calling races in the booth as far as number of race count goes. However, I'm eager to get stuck in, get going with you guys, and hopefully we see some good racing here, both here at Split 2 and also Split 1 coming up later on today.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, we're running a smaller lobby here, just 9 drivers in. We do have, I believe, Maku, who is running a quali ban here for Split 2, so might be a longer delay between Split 2 and Split 1, as there is a little bit of discussion going on right now for Split 1 running a 25% race. Nothing's confirmed on that yet. Of course, I'm keeping my eyes on things. I'll keep you posted as admin pass down that decision for what they do. They wanted to run a one-shot quali, and that got shut down very quickly. So, of course, we're going to be here. It's Interlagos, it's Sao Paulo. If you ask me, this is where every F1 season should end here in Brazil. It feels right, it feels natural, and it's always a fun track. Plenty of fun times have been had here, of course. You know, in real F1, we got to see some of the great fights of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Here in Split 2, we are going to get to see the big fight between Radoslav Kepa and Franek to see which one of them can knock out Baran. Of course, Radoslav Kepa is only 2 points behind Baran in the Drivers' Championship here in Split 2, and nothing is set in stone. Drivers are putting in their first laps. Maku already retiring out of the session, spinning there out of turn 1. Velix comes across a 108.815, so we're starting to see some times put in. I'm thinking low 108s is what we're expecting, as Giro sets a 108.6. I would say probably 108.2, 108.3 is going to be our pole time by the end of this session. It's going to be really the big question. We jump on board with Debe here. Debe in the middle sector getting really loose. And that is going to be, I think, the name of the game. It's going to be what driver can kind of hold on to things. And, of course, it is a bit cloudy here. So that, I think Kenny is going to be the big name of the game. I don't know if we're expecting rain, but of course, a wet Brazil is always a fun time.
Of course, a wet Brazil is always a fun Brazil, and not sure how well ambient temps and track temps are simulated in this game, but with some cloud cover on the track, especially out on that first outlap, you might not have the best grip, and especially on the exit of some of these corners, you could definitely struggle with a little bit of a wheel spin and also spinning yourself out and ruining your lap. These first couple laps here, of course, referred to as we call them in the States as bankers laps. But I'm actually betting we see a 107 something.
I think, 107 would make a lot of sense to see come down as we go through. Of course, we see Debe purple first sector, so Debe is on a push lap here doing really well. We're going to continue to watch and see where he lands as he runs through the middle sector. We saw him kind of have to compromise the middle sector that last lap, and it looks like a lot neater this time around. So 107s, I think, are possible. I think... Big thing, Maku, of course, was, it looks like looking at intermediate tires when he wrecked. So the track's not wet yet, but it looks like rain is on the forecast for this quali session. So these banker laps are going to be really important. They need to go ahead and get times in, get strong times in now. And of course, every driver's in the pits except for Debe. Debe kind of running his own pace. And purple first sector, he's coming around final corner here. What is he going to do? And into the pits, actually.
Dashed out, yeah.
That works. Purple first sector into the pits. So 12 minutes left to go here in this 18-minute quali session. Of course, if you are new to FRL, it is a 50% race, 18-minute quali, one single session. We don't do a full 3 qualies. That just allows for a little bit more opportunity, a little bit more action goes through. But it does present some different challenges, and one of the big challenges that can present, especially if you don't time things right, is you can end up in a lot of trouble. And you can see now Debe is off the run plan of all the other drivers, which might work out for him in the long run.
Yeah, it might. Personally, though, the pack's pretty tight, though. I think track position does play a pretty important role, especially once we get into the bigger field in split 2. As you get more cars on track, I think really we're going to have some really good fights. But qualifying is very important on this track, and I hope Debe can creep up the field a little bit. As do you think he's got the pace to threaten for a front row?
But one of the big things with Debe is a very, very good driver. Debe has a lot of perks, and I'm speaking very carefully because Debe is, of course, the person that signs off on my paychecks at the end of the week. I don't get paid, but if I did get paid, he'd sign off on it. So Debe is a very, very good driver. Debe just gets unlucky at times, I will say. That is the big thing I've learned with Debe as I've watched, is that luck tends to not favor the Red Bull driver's side. So we'll see kind of where things land in the long term as we go through. Andre is currently going out on a lap. Of course, everyone knows Andre, formerly known as Gamer, now known as Andre. So correcting the names to fit appropriately here for the final round of Season 7. And now as we watch him come through down the middle sector, purple first sector here from Andre in the Ferrari. So we're going to stick with him here through the lap and just watch and see where he can put that Ferrari. It was a 109.5 on his first lap. 108.6 is the current pole, so about a second off. And 10 minutes left to go. Andre's putting in a pretty good time. And, as a driver, Brazil is very challenging because you really have to... The middle sector can be what makes or breaks you. You really have to compromise that straight line speed for middle sector times. And some drivers find that balance, some don't.
I would agree. Absolutely. Especially there's a lot of, downhill braking zones. So if you're not using assists, if you're not easy on the pedal, you can definitely ruin a corner for yourself and miss an apex, especially turns 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3 actually. Exit of turn 3 is just crucial, getting that straight line speed going down the first straight of your opening lap. As Bartosz puts up a 108.506, will Baran be joining us?
So Baran is serving a race ban this weekend. So unfortunately for Baran, he is currently provisionally our driver's champion going into this race by 2 points. So unfortunately for him, as long as Radislav Kepa finishes above P8, Radislav Kepa will beat him in the driver's championship. And for Franek needs to finish above P6 in order to win the driver's championship and have Radislav Kepa finished below him. It's a very, very tight battle, and all the way through, we're going to be looking to see who's winning it, because it's going to go down to the wire here. And, of course, Radislav Kepa and Franek currently sitting P1, P2 provisionally with 9 minutes left to go. And it's going to be very, very close between those three. Hopefully, by the end of this race, we can have a set winner, and I can tell you at the end of the race who is claiming our Split 2 Drivers' Championship. But it really is going to be... It's going to be a big ask, because, of course, Bartosz is going to be in the mix here. Bartosz has a lot of good pace, and so that's going to mix things up a bit as well, and we'll just have to kind of wait and see closer to the end of the race where things go. And if it is a 25% race, that is going to really mix everything up. I don't think the 25% race decision is going to go through. We're kind of watching to see where things land.
Will it score full points or half points?
It's still full point score.
Gotcha. Well, Brad, I couldn't think of a better track, though, to have such a tight battle on. That's the best part. Yeah, I know. Brazil. There's tons of great tracks in Formula One, but to have a finishing a championship finishing race here, and some big names still vying for that championship, it's anybody's ball game at the moment, or anybody's race, I should say. I'm sorry.
Anyone's ball game. I like that.
You have to forgive me back at home. Everybody, I do. We call them Americanisms, but I am working on that, and hopefully, I can with my English. I am more direct and more saying what I mean.
Yeah, we're. You now have 2 American broadcasters in the booth. Of course, we're not losing Syntax. Syntax will be with us for Split 1, but now you've got 2 Americans to commentate Split 2, and that's going to be fun to see how FRL reacts to 2 Americans.
Yeah, hopefully they are as excited as we are, and look, Bartosz going around right now. It's currently down in P3 with a 108.506. I honestly think we might see a 107 if the rain holds off.
Yeah, times are continuing to come down as we go. That 107 is possible. It's really just a matter of who's going to put that time out there. Velik's on a push lap right now, and his top is a 108. Watch this as he goes through. I love these first 3 corners here at Interlagos. They're so much fun, especially when you come through, and we've seen a lot of action in real life there. But as you watch DRS Open, break about 75 meters for turn 4, left-hander. Try not to run it too wide. Of course, track limits is monitored. Very, very hard here. Velik's has had a good season. Currently P6 in the Drivers' Championship for Alpine. Very, very consistent. Hasn't finished outside the top 10 when he's finished. Only 1 DNF, and that was in Monza in round 5. So 1 DNF, which everyone has their bad days. I mean, even Max Verstappen. So when you look at it, end of the day, very consistent, which has put Velik's in a great position for next season. And speaking of next season, if you have not signed up yet for next season, there is still plenty of time to sign up. We will have the qualifying races that come up between seasons. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and do !Discord in the chat, and you can get a link to join the Discord, or look down as Velik sets the fastest time. He could be your competition next season. There is a calendar in place for next season that I have privileged information for. I'm not going to leak anything, again, because Daybase signs my paychecks, and I would like to be around for Season 8. But Season 8 is well in the works. Qualifying races are set up. Of course, if you are new to the league, qualifying races are an option, but you just need to jump in and set your time trial times, and you will do that, if I remember right. It is going to be a wet Brazil time and a dry Spain time, and that can determine what split you're in. Otherwise, qualifying races will be happening between seasons. Exact time to be determined. There is a discussion about streaming those, and we will let you know more as soon as I know more.
Yeah, here at FRL, at Foxes, we like to turn and burn, so definitely it'll be a quick turnaround getting into next season. So if you're looking to race, if you're watching this as a non-driver, definitely give it a look, check us out, and see if we're a good fit.
Absolutely. There's positions all the way through. Jump in the Discord, join in. Would love to have everyone available. and it always makes for more fun. We're coming down to about 4 minutes left to go here in qualifying, and as it looks right now, Velix currently sitting at 108.2, so we're about 2.5 tenths off of that magic 107 number. Frantic 108.3, and I believe Frantic is on an in lap at the moment, though, from what it looks like. Andre 108.8. Debe 108.7. Kushor's still in the 109s. Kushor's on an out lap, though. I don't think Kushor's gotten to really put together a representative lap of his times yet. So we'll jump on board whenever Kushor starts his flying lap. We're watching Frantic come around final sector right now, and I'm not sure if he's going to dive into the pits or not, so we're just going to kind of watch and see what he chooses to do here. Looks like he is into the pit lane in that McLaren. So 3.5 minutes left to go. It looks like plenty of drivers are going in and then going for another out lap, and there's enough time for one more round of push laps from these 8 drivers left in qualifying. Of course, we lost Maku because Maku spun on an out lap, and we'll be doing a last to first challenge. Baran, of course, our provisional drivers champion going into this final round, serving a quali ban or a race ban this weekend. And I will tell you, if there's a weekend to serve a race ban, it's probably not the one where you're the provisional drivers championship. So we'll sit and watch and see what happens there. Kushor invalidating his lap right through the first turn, which is really unfortunate for Kushor, and I don't think Kushor is going to have time to really come around, come back in. We're going to jump on board with the Silver Arrow here. Silver Arrow starting his push lap of Bartosz. Bartosz is about 0.2 of a second back from Velix, 2.5 tenths roughly, and we'll see what sort of times Bartosz can put on the board. Kenny, 2.5 minutes left to go. Any predictions for the race? I'm going to ask you the question.
Well, hopefully, of course, we have a cleanish start here, as hopefully Bartosz is not blocked by this car ahead here. Looks like the Red Bull car is going to let him go. But no, I think we're going to have a great race here. Just looking at the times, I think your top 6 will be, your top 5 will be pretty competitive. I'm still rooting for that 7-minute time, or that 107 time. We'll see what happens, but yeah, no, definitely Frantic and Radoslav Kappa will definitely have a great chance to threaten for this championship, as unfortunately, like we've been talking about, Baran, he's not here with us, and he's probably beating himself up back at home. And what was the? Can we talk a little bit about the penalty that he got?
Yeah, so coming down to about 1.5 minutes left here in qualifying while we're setting up. Bartosz is about to finish his lap, so I want to see what time he puts in. And Bartosz comes across the line, 108.4. So provisionally P3 there, doesn't improve through to get to provisional pole here. About a minute left, but yeah.
It looks like Bartosz is done. That's going to be the end of his qualifying session as well. Welix seems to be going fast still as well. Let's see here. Welix currently is your provisional pole leader at the moment with a 108.287. So Welix right now currently up in that top spot at the moment.
Yep, 45 seconds to go left in qualifying here. Velix comes across 6.7 seconds down, so not a fast lap coming through from there. Bartosz is out on a lap as well. Radoslav Kappa is on a lap. Andre is out. Kushor is able to go up into the 108s, 108.7. Debe with a 108.7 as well, so those drivers continuing to improve here. Kushor had to do a second push lap on that set of soft tires, so I think there's a little bit more pace in there for Kushor. Debe's coming through at the moment. He is up a couple of tenths going around final sector here, final corner, and as he comes through, we'll see where he lands that Red Bull car. Radoslav Kappa, the driver in front of him. Radoslav Kappa, provisional pole with a 108.042. Debe comes across 108.3. Now we have Frantic who needs to come through. Frantic's in the middle sector currently. Checkered flag has fallen. Radoslav Kappa is going to be locked in on the time he's at, unless he is doing a second push lap, which is a very interesting decision if he is, but I can't imagine so, as he's 2.5 tenths up currently on Velix. Frantic's coming through third sector, and as he rounds out here, right-hander looking really, really smooth, really in control here for Frantic as he goes across. Juro's going to be locked in P6, and Velix will be locked in at P2. Frantic is coming around on the final corner now, and he's got an Alpine on his left-hand side of Velix. Velix stays out of the way, or that might have been Kushor, actually. Either way, as they come through, Frantic is going to come across. We're going to follow him all the way to the line, and Frantic comes through 108.151, not good enough for pole, but does put him front row of the grid there. Frantic 108.151. Radislav Kepa is currently sitting on pole. Of course, Debe and Bartosz out on laps, but both of them having multiple laps out on those soft tires. I think we are going to be locked in here with the front row being the two competing for this championship.
Yeah, Radislav Kappa just making missing out on the 107 club by just over 4/100ths. So some spicy times. Big shout out to Debe there for his P4 time 108.350. That was a pretty good lap from him at the end.
Absolutely. Great times all the way around. This is going to be a very competitive race. Of course, we do have one driver with a quali band that's serving that. So we will have... who is that joining? That is Mario's that is going to be joining us in for the race. So we will have a 10-car grid going in for the race. And as it sets up, this is going to be a great way to end Season 7. It's going to be a very, very competitive grid all the way through, setting up for 34 laps of Brazil that we're about to have? I'm not sure how many laps we're going to have, but Radislav Kepa will find himself on pole. Stick with us, everyone, for just a minute, and we will be right back for the race. All right, and we are just a little bit away from everything going. Everyone's loading in at the moment. We're getting ready to get set up. All of the pit crews are doing their stretches, of course, and we are getting ready to prep for 36 laps. Thank you to whoever that was that corrected me, Maku, for correcting me on the lap count. It's 36 laps of action. And Kenny, give me a quick 10-second rundown. Who's going to win this race? Who's going to finish P2? And who gets our Split 2 Drivers' Championship?
Well, I will say this track has one of the smallest margins of victory ever. Back in 2002, Michael Schumacher won by just a half a second. The points totals are very, very close. I think it's anybody's race between Radislav and Finnick. Unfortunately, Baran's going to miss out, I think, on this championship.
It's all to be determined. 36 laps of action coming at you. 5 red lights, and we are underway right off the jump here for this final round here in FRL Season 7 Split 2. And right away, Radislav Kepa gets away well. There's a bit of shuffling here. You've got Frantic on the inside of Velix here. That is going to be Bartosz, who snaps out a little bit wide there. Maku in the back, already out in last place. Velix runs wide, turn 3. Frantic takes advantage and goes through. Frantic, Radislav Kepa, the two drivers champion competitions up here in the lead. And now back in the back, you've got Debe, who has a little bit of a peek here with Kushor looking around on Marios. Marios and Kushor running side by side, coming through turn 4. Alpine and the Williams, who is going to take advantage and come out ahead. And it looks like as they dive in onto this right-hander, it is going to be Marios who gets ahead of Kushor here. But up front, Radislav Kepa keeping a nice 0.3 of a second lead. Debe spinning here. I believe we've seen Rex there before. Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, wrecked there last time F1 was at Brazil last year. And now Debe's back underway. He's going to have to take up last place. But as we kind of settle in here, up 5 places is Marios. Bartosz is up 1 place. Up 2 places Maku. Debe, the big loser. And out of this first lap of 36, we see Radislav Kepa, Frantic, and Velix holding on to the top 3 where they started. Kenny, first lap, nothing major happens, and Radislav Kepa leads the way through.
Yeah, I will say unlucky start for Debe there, as he had that Alpine on rails for a moment. Elbows out going with Marios there, who's now in P5. But yeah, Radislav Kappa and Frantic definitely getting their names out there up in front and trying to make this a 2-horse race for themselves and for that Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, watching through as we continue to run, of course, Pit Stop Strategy powered by AWS. If you're interested in it, and let's get a track map up here. That way we can see what's going on all the way around the track. Of course, with just 10 drivers, it shouldn't be too hard to keep up with them, but you'd be surprised sometimes at how things go. As we watch here, Pit Stop Strategies, I'm betting everyone does a 1-stop except for Debe. Debe, of course, opting to start on the soft tires, which is a interesting decision. Those tires are going to die out pretty early. Not the preferred race tire here, so we'll see how he holds on to it. And when he pits, I'm guessing he'll do soft to hards. He might do soft, medium, medium. But everyone else on the medium or hard tire settling in. And as we round out 2 laps of what should be a quick 36 lap race here, and we still hold on here. Radislav Kepa in the lead. Velix is slowly gaining on Frantic, and as we run out here into turn 1, Velix is starting to push on Frantic here. Debe setting a fastest lap, putting those soft tires to use early, but of course with that spin, he's going to have to lay back a little bit, may have a little bit of a flat spot, and we'll see how much of those soft tires he can take advantage of and continue to watch here. I think this race is going to be a little bit more kind of calm. Debe using those soft tires, getting through for P9. Maku, I'm keeping my eyes on him too in the Haas there. Of course, starting out back in the field after that spin in quali, and now he just needs to set off and chase. He's putting some pressure here on Kushor in the Alpine and continue to go. Of course, Bartosz putting a little bit of pressure on Velix, and our front 3 are just trying to settle in and run away here. Of course, no DRS 2 laps after the race start, so DRS is now available to these drivers, and track limits.
Yeah, I think Kushor and Zero are going to have to benefit off this DRS. Zero's going to have to kick it into gear as he is struggling quite a bit for pace. Yeah, DRS is now open, and we are open for business.
Now we're going to continue to watch through here. Maku taking advantage of the DRS here, pushing fastest lap of the Grand Prix there for Maku, and he goes around Kushor. Kushor spins there into turn 1, and ghosting is on, thankfully, because otherwise Kushor would have taken a few cars with him there. So I'm not sure if there was any contact between those two, but Kushor able to hold on to it and go through. Now Kushor is going to be back at the back of the field. Maku's up into P6. Jiro is under some pressure here from Debe now. So back of the field is getting very, very busy. In front of the field, Frantic is getting closer and closer, inch by inch, to Radislav Kepa.
Yeah, unlucky spin from Kushor there, and just the thank God for ghosting, as that would have been just catastrophe and a for sure safety car early on in this race. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what happens with these top 5 guys as we actually the top 6, as we got a little train forming here, and I think these top 6 are going to bring some good pace throughout the whole race.
Absolutely. I think Giro is the big cork in the bottle here for them. As we watch through, Giro 3.4 seconds back on Maku. Everyone from P1 to P6 separated by less than a second. And then, of course, we know these guys in the back have some pace. So Debe's big goal right now is to get past Giro. As we see Debe looking on the outside going into turn 1, he's going to run long way around, which cuts into the inside for turn 2. And Giro leaves him plenty of respectful racing room. They're still side by side as they come out of turn 3 here, left-hander. It's going to keep the outside. DRS open. Juro gets advantage of DRS going down this back straight. He's going to have the inside, so Juro fighting hard, holds on to it for another lap here with Debe trying to put some more pressure. Switch back side by side. Continue to look here, and he's going to be outside again. Great passing going through. Juro holding on to it, though, for another lap, which, surprisingly, great battles all the way through here. Juro corking the bottle now, 5 seconds back from Maku, but putting up a defensive masterclass for this P7.
I will say, both those guys, both Debe and Zero, giving a hefty exchange there. And everybody else here up towards the front of the field, both Willix and Bartosz kind of getting closer together on the back end of Frantic there. And yeah, Radislav Kepa up in front trying to break the toe and get off into his own little island as he's almost creating separation up in front.
Yeah, you can see everyone kind of taking slightly different lines, kind of looking different through turn 1, down the main straight, back straight. They're really trying to mix things up and really see what they can do here. Bartosz has a great run on Velix, though. Both have DRS, but Slipstream is going to help Bartosz a little bit. Is he going to look for a cheeky dive up the inside here? Yes, he is. Bartosz dive up the inside, sets that Silver Arrow Mercedes into a great place there going into turn 5. And now as we run up into turn 6, Bartosz 1.2 seconds back on Frantic, and he can kind of set out to try to chase down those leaders. You can see he's already gained 0.3 of a second just between turns 5, 6, and 7. And now as we run through this middle sector, this fun, winding sector, it's going to be just a matter of watching Bartosz put some pace down and really chase down these front runners here. Radislav Kepa is just trying to maintain at this moment. I think there's a little bit of tire conservation going on there from the front too, as they know the back are battling really hard, and I wonder if they're just trying to run their own race, maybe banking on a little bit of a safety car, trying to play just a little bit of strategy game. I don't know what the plan is there for the front ones. We're 6 laps in, 30 laps to go. And we're still sitting Radislav Kepa Frantic, and now it's Bartosz P3, Velix P4, and Bartosz has some hefty pace in that Mercedes. But of course, Bartosz is carrying that 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. He'll have to serve it at his first pit stop.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely hurt his bid quite a bit there. But as we see a little bit of movement down at the bottom of the grid there. But no, definitely if you're on the hard tires, though, that's a bigger story there. As both the pace of Maku and Maros, if they can keep that going through this stint, especially as these medium tires degrade, as like you said, is there conservation going? Because yeah, it's definitely close throughout the top 6.
Yeah, Debe unfortunately spinning there in turn 3. We watched him do a couple of pirouettes trying to get back on the track. He is back going, but now 17 seconds off the front of the grid. We're yellow flag sector 2. And if we cut back, that is Debe again. So unfortunate time there for Debe. You overheat the tires in these F1 cars, though, and they are pretty much gone from that point forward. But Marios and Maku putting in some good race pace here on these hard tires, keeping up with these medium runners in the front 4. Of course, now we're officially starting lap 8 here. We're seeing a bit of mix-up here. 0.3 of a second, the gap between Radoslav Kepa and Frantic. Maku, Marios battling. Look at that. That is going to be Marios up the inside. Turns on the outside here, and that is going to be Maku holding on here. Both drivers have DRS. I think Marios might have a bit of an advantage here into the next corner. He's a little too far back for a late break, and he settles back in. But for a second there, Marios thought about the move on Maku, and that could have been interesting. These hard tire runners starting to get a little antsy and trying to push their way up the field, as well as our front 6 have all just kind of settled into a train, and they're running a race of their own.
Personally, if I am on the hards right now, I am salivating, because you're going to be finishing your race on the softer compound, and as of right now, you have the pace to run with the best. So as Maku is definitely all over the diffuser of the Alpine there. But yeah, a little bit of contact maybe a few turns ago. Oh, is the Mercedes going to go around?
Bartosz spinning their final corner. I don't know what happened, but he's still sitting for a second. So whatever it wasn't good. So Bartosz still sitting on the track, now having to snap back to track there. It looks like there was a track reset used. That is against FRL's rules, so a penalty I'm sure will be handed down for that. With admin, we're watching now because that mixes up the front of the field. Radoslav Kepa, Frantic, Maku, and now you've got Velix and Marios battling here. The Williams, the Alpine, and the Haas are in the mix as well, but now the front 2 are within a couple tenths of each other, so we've got big battles coming through here all the way around. Inside goes Velix, Marios, and it sets up here who is going to come out ahead. The Alpine a little bit better pace. The Williams settles back in, and good question coming in from Syntax. It is a question on if it will be raining, and I would love to know the answer to that. So if anyone has some insider info, I'd love to know. Is Debe is going to be our first driver into the pits. Velix, Mario side by side coming through the 3rd sector here, and now still side by side as they switch back again. Which one of them is going to come out ahead? And now it's Marios in the Williams finding the advantage to come out in the lead, but Frantic and Radoslav Kepa putting a lot of pressure on each other up in front as well. And as these two continue to battle, they're losing a little bit of touch with the drivers in front. But I can tell you right now, Velix is not going to let go here. Velix on the outside, Marios on the inside as they come down the main straight side by side. And now Velix has the lead against Marios, and that is going to be P4 settled. And now no fight back coming through the 1st sector. Velix, great racecraft there. Mario's great defending, but in the end, Velix able to just get a little bit better run in the 3rd sector, able to take advantage down the main straight, and he is in the P4. He's in the fight here for the run for a podium. Marios isn't giving him any sort of relief, though. Look at this. Mario's going to think about another dive up the inside. Middle sector again. These laps are so fast around here. Just over a minute. And now, look at this. Mario's big dive up the inside. Turn to the outside for the next corner. He doesn't have enough grip to hold on to it. And now he's still side by side, though. He's able to somehow stay close. Velix is trying to defend hard. Mario's up the inside going in there through the turn. And now a little bit of a snap of the rear end from Marios. Velix has to check up. And that puts Marios back ahead of Velix going out of what is turn 12. So for another lap, They swap positions again. This is some great battling here in Split 2. Very clean racing all the way through. Respectful racing from the drivers. Great racecraft. And now we're about to get another run of it again as we see DRS open for Velix. And now Velix gets past Marios down the main straight. Now they run into turn 1. Better line for Marios around the outside. He's going to be able to switch it back here. Get a bit more speed coming out of the exit of turn 3. And now, Kenny, we're backstretch again. Another big battle developing here. They're not done here.
Yeah, well, definitely both drivers are going to be starving for battery here soon, but right now the Williams has the upper hand as he's going to take it off track a little bit. Both tires are not bad for both these cars, as the medium car, the Alpine driver, is going to be now just getting into some degradation territory. But no, some great racing between these two. And honestly, I think we might start to see a little bit of frustration show between these two eventually, as we're just starting to see a little bit more contact each exchange, but it's clean nonetheless. It's kind of like, just like, you know, about as close as you can get before you start having an issue. But no, great racing between these guys.
Yeah, I'm loving to watch this competition here for them as they come through final sector here out of turn 14. Now they're in the run down towards turn 15. And at the moment, it is going to be Marios ahead of Velix here. But of course, a 10th of a second separating them.
Threatening for P2.
Ooh, Maku dive into turn 1 here. As we watch, I wish we could have picture-in-picture here. And there goes Maku diving in against Frantic. The medium tires, I think, are starting to die here, as that is Maku up into P2 here. Now he's got DRS. Is Maku going to have a challenge on Radislav Kepa as we run through? And who came out between Velix and Marios? And it looks like Velix kept that P4 at the moment. Maku up ahead of Frantic now. If it's tire conservation, that's a dangerous decision, I think, for these medium runners. We're lap 12 of 36. We're not to a pit window yet, but, I mean, this could cost them in the long run.
As a driver, if you're going to go to the conservation mode, get it behind a hard compound runner and park it and benefit off the toe. You know, that way you can just full send on your next stint, or you can overextend so much where you have such a benefit of the overcut that basically it's just, I don't think that on this particular track in this particular race that's that big of a gain. But if you're going to conserve, you've got to commit, and I don't think we're seeing that.
Not a bit. As we see, I believe we're about to see Debe get lapped. Debe 49 seconds back on Bartosz, so Debe is about to be the first car lapped here. As you can see, Radislav Kepa making his way up towards Debe. Debe has switched to the hard tires after his couple of spins there. We've got something going on midfield, and that is Marios into the pits there in the Williams. He's getting a front wing change here, so I'm guessing some sort of contact between him and Velix as they went through. This is going to be a long pit stop for the Williams. He goes onto a set of medium tires, so unscheduled pit stop for Marios onto a set of mediums, and now this is going to be the long ride to the end. We're on lap 13 of 36 here, and it's a tall ask for the mediums. I don't think it's impossible, but it's going to be a longer run if he can keep it out of the wall on pit exit. He went into the wall there a little bit, and now let's jump back up here to the front of the grid now. I think Williams is going to be having a bad day there, but it's a good day if you're Maku. Maku 4/10 of a second, 3/10 of a second back going down the final straight, or the main straight here against Radislav Kepa. He's going to have DRS. Are we going to see a pass for the lead here, Kenny?
I think it's going to come up here soon. Definitely, it's overdue.
And overspeed like nobody's business. Dive up the inside into turn 1. Pretty as you please. Maku in the Haas in the white brick. The American-made brick. Puts it in the lead here on those white hard tires. And now, for Maku, it is just a matter of watch the tires, build up a bit of pace, and Maku is in a very, very good position right now.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're, especially if, Frantic definitely is the car to do the most thinking now, but no, if you're Radislav Kepa, just stick it behind the Williams, grab the toe, and, just pick a time to come in. Your window is opening soon, and this is a track that is, you can extend the tires if you know what you're doing. If you're easy on the brakes, as Bartosz is going to pick up a 3-second for multiple warnings. If you're easy on the brakes and on your exits, I mean, you could definitely overextend. Seeing the breakdown here on screen, on my end, you've got 38% on the fronts just for Radislav right now. So he's definitely got a little bit of time.
Yeah, and look at that. Maku is already extended over a second against Radislav Kepa. Radislav Kepa doesn't have DRS. Franic's going to have a little bit of a battle. We've got, I believe that is Kushor in the Alpine, who is spun in the 3rd sector, but it looks like he's back underway with no issues. And for those of you asking about where we're at right now in terms of the Drivers' Championship, if we were to freeze the field right now, it would be Radoslav Kepa with 135 points claiming Split 2 champion, and Aston Martin claiming Constructors champion as well. So as we sit right now, Radoslav Kepa is very, very much in a good spot. Franic needs to get past him there and then add a little bit more to it. But as it sits right now, Radoslav Kepa really just needs to finish the race. Needs to drive pretty, needs to finish the race, and needs to go through very, very cleanly the rest of the way through.
Yeah, and as we quick update on Zero and Andre, some of your guys who kind of had a rough start to the race, up into P5 and P6, but everybody due to come in, especially if you're on mediums here over the next, I would say probably 3 laps, 1 to 3 laps.
Pit window is open, so now we're really going to see how things mix up here. Radoslav Kepa and Franic, I'm sure there's a little bit of gamesmanship that's being played here between these two. It's for Franic, it's do what he doesn't do, I'm sure will be the call from the team for whichever way they decide to let this go. As we continue to watch here, Franic 0.7 of a second back on Radoslav Kepa, so he has let that gap open. Velix is 6.6 seconds back on Franic, so midfield really opened up here. You've got drivers all the way around. No big battles right now. It's this battle right here for P2 that is the real key fight at the moment. Mario's 3.3 seconds back. And really, if you're some of these drivers like Debe, Bartosz, Kushor, Marios, Andre, and Juro, you're really hoping for a safety car right now for one of the front 3 to make a mistake.
Or rain.
Or rain. That is also a very, very good point.
But yeah, no, dry track at the moment, and it looks like we're going to stay that way. And no, definitely the biggest thing coming up for your drivers, especially you faster drivers, is on your first lap or 2 coming out on your second stint, you've got to get those tires fired up quickly. And not overdo it, because this is a track you will spin.
Looking here at things, there we go. There is what's going to trigger pit lane to get very busy. Velix being the first of our medium runners to pop in for a scheduled pit stop here. And what tire is Velix going to put on as we watch here? And where will Velix come out? I think Velix is going to come out behind Bartosz at least. Hard tires go on. It's a clean pit stop from the boys there at Alpine. And now as Velix runs through, his teammate Kushor gets past him here. Is he going to come out past Marios, though? That is going to be the big question. Of course, the pit exit a little bit different here as compared to some other tracks. It does kind of wind through turn 1 and turn 2, shoot you out on the back straight there out of the exit of turn 3. And Velix is going to come out with no cars behind him, Marios and Kushor in front of him. And that is going to free up a few drivers and really start putting some pressure up on the drivers in front, as Marios on those fresh medium tires can start putting a little bit of pressure on Kushor. And now we've got yellow flag, sector 2. That is Bartosz spinning. Bartosz on 16 lap on mediums now. He is going to come back on track behind Velix. So Bartosz is now at a point where I think he can afford a pit stop here and serve his penalty. Marios and Kushor battling it out here. And now side by side goes the Williams and the Alpine. We've watched this battle all race. This is going to be a big rivalry, I think, for the rest of this race. And this might carry over into Season 8, depending on how things go. But at the moment, it's Marios ahead of Kushor. Now we have Juro into the pits. So pit lane getting very busy, but our front 3 have not blinked yet. Juro in the Alfa Romeo, and Alfa Romeo boys have a set of, looks like hard compound tires going on for the Alfa Romeo. And question for you, Kitty. If you are the front 3, if you're Maku, are you thinking about extending and running softs for the last 10 laps of the race? If you're Radoslav and Franic, are you thinking about extending and trying to run soft tires? Or are you sticking to your strategy, hard to medium or medium to hard?
Knowing this game, I'm going hard to medium always, but my heart wants to extend. Like if I'm the driver, if I'm at Brazil, if I'm Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, I'm overextending, I'm putting softs on.
And here is a big moment. Radislav Kepa and Franek both into the pits on the medium tires. Maku continuing to run. So let's see what the McLaren and the Aston Martin boys can do for these drivers. So McLaren's in. McLaren going to a set of hard tires. Aston Martin onto a set of hard tires. It's a good stop from both. A little bit slower maybe from Aston Martin than it was McLaren, but they are going to come out the way they came in. Andre now into the pits in P4. And we'll see hard tires, how they fire up for Radislav and Franek, as this is going to be a big battle. And Franek having a little bit of a moment there on pit exit. And now as they come through, it's going to be really a good question of how do they come out compared to Marios. Marios, I think, is going to be a little ways back here, so they don't have to worry about him. Yep, still about 5 seconds back. But here we go. Franek and Radislav Kepa now within a second of each other, and 24 seconds ahead is Maku. Maku is now, I'm going to be imagining, getting the radio from his team free to push and build a gap. So he's going to be trying to build something to keep himself up ahead of these two drivers. And Radislav and Franek are going to be really pushing to try to build a bit of pace here, close the gap down a little bit, and not let Maku get the overcut on him. And Franek is going to be trying to push, get a good warm-up on these tires. He's going to really want to try to get past Radislav Kepa as fast as he can.
You want to hear a plot twist?
I do want to hear a plot twist.
A safety car caused by a familiar pair.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. I just want to see the field bunch up and everybody just kind of do it. I kind of feel for Bortosh right now, especially Debe as well. Yeah, I would like to see those guys have a chance as well, but still, Maku, update on his tire situation. He is about to start his 20th lap on the hards.
Maku has just been cruising too. Look at that, 25 seconds the gap right now between Maku and Radislav Kepa. Radislav has gotten a bit of pace in. Franek closing the gap down to about half a second between himself and Radislav Kepa. So really those two kind of holding on here at the moment. Things are pretty relaxed so far. I'm waiting to see the call that Maku dives into the pits, but I don't think we're going to see that for probably at least 2 to 3 more laps, I would say.
At this point, I mean, with the pace, yeah. I mean, let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No reason to change anything now, so continue to run through. I would say if he starts seeing that gap close a little bit, Maku will go into the pits, and then he's really just got to be fingers crossed for a good pit stop. 0.6 of a second the gap between the battle for P2 here and the battle for the Drivers' Championship. Radislav Kepa and Franek. And at the moment, Radislav Kepa coming out with the advantage. Turn 1 looking really good between these two. Continue to run, and at the moment, we are sitting with 15 laps to go. And everything has been fairly smooth sailing so far.
Yeah, fairly clean race throughout. You know, even your closest tight battles with elbows out. I mean, I think the worst is unlucky. I think it was Maros that had the wing issue that had to get a wing exchange, and that kind of put a damper on his efforts. But he's in P4.
Yep, Mario's still looking really good. 2.6 seconds back. He's taking advantage of those medium tires while the hard tires are still trying to warm up. And he's slowly closing that gap up to Franek. So he could be in the mix for a podium by the end of this race. Of course, still plenty of time left to go. Franek is trying to put himself in a mix here for the P2 against Radislav Kepa. And as we continue to see, he's consistently just staying there. He finds himself in the mix. He's closing the gap down a little bit. It seems like Radislav Kepa is getting slightly better corner exits, though, as we run down the final straight now. And there they go through, running down out of turn 15, down the main straight here. DRS is open there for Franek. Franek is trying to close the gap a bit. 0.3 of a second as they run into turn 1. Not close enough for a dive bomb or anything crazy, but Franek is just right there in the mirror. He might have something going into turn 4 here as they come out of the second DRS zone. DRS is open, and is this going to be a late dive bomb, a Danny Rick style dive bomb? It's not. Franek thinks better of it, holds on to it. Franek is purple first sector, though, so we know there's a lot of pace left in that McLaren.
And he's had a pretty good race up until this point, and you know, just seeing just this day unfold, you know, I'm still surprised with Maku. Maku's still up in the P1, but the pace is something else for me.
Yeah, Maku just sitting relaxed. He's 24.8 seconds ahead at the moment of Radislav Kepa. And I do think that Maku is looking at extending as well. He has, of course, lapped Debe at this point. He is on par to possibly lap Bartosz as well as we watch and continue to watch. Andre is in a good position to attack Juro here as they come out of the third sector. They'll be heading on the main straight in a moment. We're keeping our eyes right here on Radislav Kepa and Frantic as those two are still battling. Down into turn one again. Frantic 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second, the gap. Holding on very, very tightly to the back of Radislav Kepa. And he is just there in the mix. But if you look just at the back of your screen, you can see Marios starting to creep into view here and battle through. Andre does get the pass on Juro. He doesn't actually. Andre fastest lap. Juro, though, defending like a lion, knocking Andre out. Andre with a poor turn one. Andre sticking to turn or P7 here. Juro P6 still.
What's the updated standings as of right now? Is it still Radislav?
As of right now, it would still be Radislav Kepa ahead of Frantic and Baran P3. Maku's into the pits though, Kenny. Possibly 12 laps to go here. What tire is he going for?
Medium.
Ooh, interesting decision. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out ahead of Radislav Kepa? Radislav Kepa and Frantic are coming down the main straight here. Maku is exiting the pits. I think he was able to get a lot of extension here and really build up that gap.
He will have to fire those tires up quickly, though, as the only downside of this stint will be he'll be on cold tires.
4.2 seconds the gap right now as it sits. Radislav Kepa behind Maku. Radislav Kepa, I don't think is concerned of what's in front of him, though. I think really he's worried about seeing that big papaya orange McLaren right behind him that's continuing to chase him down. And then that papaya orange is probably looking back at that Williams Racing blue of Marios, who is now 1.7 seconds back on Frantic and is continuing lap after lap to just slowly close that gap. Andre back in the battle here with Juro, 0.2 of a second, the gap there between those two. So continuing to hold on here for this battle for P6. Andre trying to put himself in a very, very good position and doing very well at it.
Yeah, I will say Juro has had a great day defending. Still up there in the mix for upper tier points, but definitely we're about to see, I think, Marios and Frantic come together here soon. And we'll see what happens with as Marios is into the pits.
Marios into the pits. This is definitely an unscheduled stop here for the Williams driver. He's going to go off those medium tires. I don't know what he would be doing here. I don't think there was any car damage. He's just onto another set of mediums. So I think he just doesn't have the pace to get to the end here. So kind of setting himself up and probably going to be looking for a midfield finish. That's going to put him back towards Kushor, I believe. So that may put him in a very good position. Juro and Andre still battling. Juro still defending against the Ferrari of Andre. Absolutely crazy stuff from those two. And now Marios, you can see in the mix there with them, about 2.5 seconds back. Andre is still fighting to get past Juro and still half a second the gap there. So for another lap, it is going to be the Ferrari behind the Alfa Romeo. Just as for another lap, it is still the McLaren chasing down the Aston Martin.
Yeah, great battle here coming up as well. I really think that Radislav is not going to be. I really don't think he's going to finish. I think he's so kind of stuck in a groove that he may be vulnerable towards the end of his stint. We'll see how well that holds out towards the end, as we got about 11 laps to go. But Wellix has got pace to potentially make a threat if there's maybe a mistake. And then, of course, if you're thinking in terms of strategy, there is always still the threat of safety cars. So Maku still leading the charge to take the race win, though.
Absolutely, and Maku setting a fastest lap last lap, so showing there's plenty of pace left in that Haas for him to get the final win here in Season 7 Split 2. And for Maku, that would be a big deal for him. Maku currently so far this season has been a very good, consistent driver. Let me pull up his stats and I'll actually be able to tell you exactly what he's done. So if you're looking at standings so far, Maku is sitting back P7 in the standings. He's got 3 podiums, 2 of those being wins so far this season. So Maku, a driver with a lot of pace, and is going to be in a very, very good spot. As things are running so far, things are really calm and really not, because now we're looking at this battle for P5 as we go here. Juro, 4.2 seconds back. We called him the cork in the bottle earlier for some of the drivers in the midfield trying to keep up with that front half of the field. And now Andre, 0.3 of a second back. Mario's 0.4 of a second back on Andre. So this battle right here for P5 is about to really heat up here. And look at this. Around the outside, Andre, and now is Marios going to try to follow him through. Marios sticking back just a little bit. Marios does have DRS, though, so he's still in the mix here into turn one. Good dive through. He's going to try to get past Andre as well. Andre wasn't able to hold on to it past Juro. Andre has a lot of pace, but he's not seemed to be able to make it through the corners for some reason. And now, look at this camera right on the rear wing of Marios, or of Andre Marios right there, and you can see just how close that Williams is against that Ferrari. There he goes up the inside. Is going to be able to hold on to it, and now inside will turn to outside for the next corner. Marios ahead of Andre. Andre doesn't have the pace to keep advantage there and stay ahead in the corners. He has a good straight line speed, but he can't keep it in the corners. So Marios up into P6. Marios trying again to get past. Finally does here. Now Marios is going to have this chase on Juro. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact going through the turn there, but able to hold on to it. No harm, no foul. I don't see any damage on the cars as they come into view, and Marios sets himself up into P5 now. 3.4 seconds back on Velix. So Marios trying to chase down Velix here for P4 on fresh medium tires, is in a good position to do so. And the front two, again, just settling in. We're 8 laps to go at this point, and kind of settling through this battle behind. Again, Juro and Andre battling again.
Yeah, I will say props to Juro, as he had a little bit of contact with Marios there, but you know, maybe he the Williams driver channeling his inner Danny Kvyat. But no, Juro, big props to him, as he is just a brick wall.
I believe Juro has taken defensive driving classes from Checo a time or two, it looks like, the way he's driving.
Quick update on your top 5. Maku, Radoslav Kappa, Franek, Willix, and Maros.
Yeah, Velix 18 seconds back now on Franek, losing a lot of pace there on the front three. The front three kind of settling in, and Maku building a big gap, 9.4 seconds, and he's going to need that gap because there goes a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting for Maku coming out of the final corner. Race leader coming down the back straight right now, and I mean, he's kind of just settling in at this point and really running his own race. He has nothing behind him, nothing in front of him. He can kind of just settle down, run it to the end. Radoslav Kappa, of course, having to do a little bit of defending here and there from Franek, but just enough of a pace difference, it looks like, between that Aston Martin and that McLaren for them to kind of settle in where they're at. But if a safety car came out now, and I know every single one of these drivers, every race engineer is thinking this, if a safety car came out right now, what are the implications?
They're huge, because at that point, especially if you're, well, not really though, because your tires are still fresh-ish, so that's not really an issue. So you don't have to worry about making a Ferrari mistake and blowing your race by pitting. So, but no, definitely, that would definitely perk your ears up quite a bit. But no, given the nature of this race so far, I don't think we're going to see a safety car.
You know, usually I account for at least one safety car in every race with FRL. No safety car is kind of a nice break because I tend to run out of things to talk about in the middle of safety cars, so I'm kind of thankful for it. Marios getting past Velix there, going into turn 14, which is an unconventional spot there, or into turn 12. That's a really unconventional spot to see a pass done, and Marios does it very well, taking advantage of those brand new mediums. Now he's just got to keep a hold of the run down the main straight. Velix has DRS. Velix is going to be on the inside here. Marios keeps the outside, the racing line. Wheels hit the grass a little bit, but he's able to hold on to it. Nothing too crazy. Marios switch back up into P4 there, holding on to everything. And yellow flag, Juro spinning out in turn 2. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the commentator's curse. You can see there, Juro on the inside there of turn 2. And I present
safety
to you...
Safety car.
Safety car. Keep your delta positive on the dash. Let's check in with our race leader here. And if anyone can imitate a good Polish scream, you're probably knowing what Maku's saying right now, because this is going to mix it all up. And I think even bigger implications for Radoslav Kappa and Franek. So,
yeah, this is huge.
All right, Maku into the pits here. Everybody get ready. Pit lane's about to get real busy. Let's
Yep.
jump on board with P2, P3. I think this is a matter of do the opposite. Nope, they do the same thing. It tried to fake him out there. Radislav Kepa into the pits, Frantic into the pits. Maku's onto a brand new set of softs. He's out of the pits. Plenty of time here. Radislav Kepa trying to back up Frantic a bit. A little bit of gamesmanship there. No harm, no foul, though. He's just slowing down, trying to hit the pit limiter, of course. Radislav Kepa into the pits here. Frantic's pit stall comes first. Soft tires going on for the McLaren. Soft tires on for the Aston Martin. Aston Martin does come out ahead there. So Radislav Kepa and Frantic keep their P2, P3. Marios into the pits here as well. Soft tires coming out of the Williams Racing Garage, and the Alpine Garage have soft tires ready for Velix as well. So I think we're about to see essentially a short little qualifying session in the end here. Medium tires for Andre, which is an interesting decision. I wonder if that's just due to tire availability. And now we have Kushor into the pits as well. Kushor going onto a set of soft tires. Bartosz into the pits onto a set of soft tires as well. And last but not least, Debe, who is just now coming around the final corners here through turn 12 and 13. Is Debe going to go into the pits here on those 21 lap old hards? I mean, you would have to, really. And Debe is into the pits here. And what is Debe going to opt to do? And
we'll see what happens there, but yeah, what do you think will happen in terms of if you're Frantic or Radislav Kappa? What do you think is going to be your play in terms of defense? Because Bartosz is now a threat for a podium, and both Welix and Maros definitely have the pace to get out in front and stay out in front for a 2 to 3 lap sprint race.
I think really it's anyone's mix who lands where here. I think Andre putting on medium tires is probably not the best decision. Soft tire runners are going to just absolutely bully him through Ferrari Masterclass, but we'll see if it works out for Andre. I think he'll be able to defend really well. We know he's got a lot of good pace in that car. He was fighting with Juro lap after lap after lap, so I think there is a lot of good pace there for Andre. Radislav Kepa and Frantic, gloves are off. It's game over. It is whatever happens at this point, and of course, safety cars breed safety cars. Turn 1, going into this final few laps, is going to be pure chaos. Of course, we still have to wait on the field to bunch up before we can go green. I don't think we're going to see any Abu Dhabi 21 FRL actions here. We'll get at least 3 laps, 2 to 3 laps of green flag running. Maybe no DRS, so it's all about pace and where you can place your car. But
dump the battery.
Yep, it's leave nothing unturned, because as it sits right now, Radislav Kepa and Frantic are battling for the bragging rights, the glory, whatever you want to say. At the moment, if they finish where they're finishing, it is still Radislav Kepa's win. So, Radislav Kepa's bragging rights. So really, I mean, in terms of how this can go, it is anyone's guess how this finishes.
All the pressure's on him. You have the double for Aston Martin in play here. It's all or nothing here. So it's keep it clean, but you have everything to lose.
So even if Frantic passes, here is where things get interesting. Even if Frantic passes Radislav Kepa and they finish P2, P3, Radislav Kepa takes the win by 1 point.
Ooh.
So Frantic has to get up to P1. Frantic has to find his way onto the podium. And
so what if Frantic finishes in P2 and gets fastest lap?
So if Frantic finishes P2 fastest lap, it's still 132 to 131. So it's still Radislav Kepa by 1 point.
Gotcha.
And at the moment, as we look, fastest lap goes to Maku by over 2 seconds.
Ooh, my.
So Maku does, of course, have that 3-second time penalty. So really, even if we look at it here, if we have Frantic finish in front of Radislav Kepa, P1 and P2, so if Frantic finishes P1, Radislav Kepa P2, it's a 2-point advantage to Frantic. So at that point, it doesn't matter who gets fastest lap. If Frantic finishes behind Radislav Kepa, regardless if it's P1 or P2, then Radislav Kepa takes the Drivers' Championship. So Frantic has to win this race. And Radislav Kepa can finish anywhere else and have fastest lap. But Frantic has to win this race at this point. So it is gloves off, nothing to lose in that McLaren garage.
Zach Brown has his bottle of aspirin ready.
It is. If you're a McLaren fan, I'm sorry. If you're an Aston Martin fan, I'm sorry. If you're a Radislav Kepa or a Frantic fan, I'm sorry. If you're a Baran fan, you are hoping they take each other out into turn 1.
True. Safety car in this lap.
Safety car in this lap. Field is bunched up in that time we were talking, and it is all gamesmanship now. Look at this. Maku just slowing down to a crawl. Just swerving, letting that safety car build through. Of course, Maku gets to decide when we get to go again. He's so slow. And look at this, though. The rest of the field is just stopping because Radislav Kepa is doing everything in his power to catch Frantic out. But are we going to see any sort of contact here? Look at how close Marios is staying to Frantic. We've seen this gamesmanship be played before, and we've seen it cost drivers. We saw DNFs happen at Singapore because of stuff like this. We're back underway now. Frantic did get caught out there by Radislav Kepa. And now, look at that, 1.8 seconds already, the gap between Maku and Radislav. Frantic 0.9 of a second back. Marios right there behind as well. So now Frantic, nothing to lose, everything to gain. He has to win this race for the Drivers' Championship, or Radislav Kepa has to make a severe error. And now as we watch through, Andre dropping back here into P8. Medium tires not doing him well. He's back into the rear of the field now. Now as we watch him go through here, this battle for P2. 2.5 seconds already the gap between Maku and Radislav Kepa. I have no idea where that pace is coming from, but that is insane as we watch through.
He definitely got the rocket booster out on that. A bit of a head scratcher from the P2 and P3 fellows, but yeah, definitely this very well could be your race finish.
And don't forget, too, whichever one of these drivers comes out ahead, they lock in their position for rights into Split 1 for next season. So this is also racing for their seat. This isn't just a matter of racing for bragging rights or anything. This is racing for their seat in Split 1 and where they can be at for next season. As they go through here, Radislav Kepa is currently 1.1 seconds ahead of Frantic as we run through. Maku 1:08.6. He's near quali pace. They're coming out of lap 35 of 36 now. And Frantic, oh no, Marios with a big spin out of turn 1, trying to chase down Frantic. The Williams spinning out, dropping to the back of the field. And that is going to spell Marios to the rear. Disaster. Ah, that's so unfortunate.
That's unlucky for him. He's having such a good day. He had some great overtakes.
I think he might have just got a little bit greedy, went a little bit too far to the right, clipped the grass, and then that was it as it went through from how it looked on my side anyways.
Yeah, the grass will definitely bite you hard in Brazil, especially if you get a good portion of that rear tire on it.
Absolutely. Andre, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. I believe that is going to be for corner cutting as he runs through the middle sector here. And as we go through, Maku is going to be bringing us around turn 12 here, starting our final lap. Here, ready to go. But it's still Radislav Kepa ahead of Frantic by 1.1 seconds.
Some penalties falling all around, but Bartosz on track wise is up in the P5, so he had a 3-place gain on the restart as we now are in the final lap.
Final lap rolling here. Maku 4.6 seconds back. We've got a battle here. Debe and Kushor. Debe up the inside with DRS, getting past Kushor there for P6. Of course, penalties have to be applied here. Radislav Kepa and Frantic have kept a very clean race. Bartosz 12 seconds of penalties. Maku 3 seconds of penalties, but he's 4.5 ahead. If Maku can keep it clean through the rest of the lap, he's in a very good position. Velik's trying to defend against Bartosz here, and that is 0.4 of a second the gap. They're kind of settling down now. And ladies and gentlemen, this rounds out Split 2 Season 7. We're going through middle sector now. Maku is just kind of cruising here. He knows he needs to keep a bit of a gap here and keep it clean through the final few corners as we see him rounding out turn 9 and going through, looking very, very strong. And we can get ready for the end here. Debe spinning, and that is going to be middle sector. Debe is going to resort himself to last place. But in this final race here, as you see coming down the final corner, Maku is going to bring us across. He is going to claim victory here in Sao Paulo. That gets us the checkered flag. And Radislav Kepa, take a bow in your Aston Martin. He rounds out our season 7 here in Split 2 and is going to be your driver's champion. Frantic, in the end, just not enough pace to get ahead there. Finishes out P3. And Radislav Kepa, you can put the crown next to his name. Congratulations on your driver's championship. Maku pulling out driver of the day for what was essentially a last to first challenge. Maku doing amazing through. And that, ladies and gentlemen, rounds out our season 7.
What a race. What a finish.
In the end, 2 points ahead is Radislav Kepa ahead of Franek. 2 points.
Well, I couldn't think of a better track to do it on.
Absolutely. Of course, if you're still looking to join here and you want to be a part of Split 2 or Split 1 next season, jump in. Of course, we do have the time trials going. We have the qualifying races that are coming up for all of the drivers. If you're interested, of course, there is the Discord link. Follow the YouTube, subscribe to the Twitch, all of the fun things that every single person says. In the end, Maku, fastest lap by over 2 seconds. And that rounds out Split 2. One more race to go, and we can call Season 7 a wrap.
Congrats once again, and like we were saying, guys, there is plenty of room here in Fox's Racing League, especially if you're into close, clean racing. Come on down, come join us.
Absolutely. Everybody stick with us. Of course, Split 1 starts here in about 15 minutes, and stick with us. We've got some big announcements, and we will be right back. And it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Rossi is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers.